The morning sky over Seoul turned black with alien ships. Massive vessels hung in the air like giant metal clouds, their smooth surfaces reflecting the city lights below. Captain Do-hyun Park stood at the window of the Earth Defense Force Command Center watching people run through the streets in panic. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all channels," said Lieutenant Bomi from her station. Her voice shook as she spoke. "The message is coming through every radio, every television, every phone. On the planet." Do-hyun walked to the main screen where the alien broadcast played. A tall creature appeared on screen. It had blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were completely black, like empty holes in space. When it spoke, the voice was cold and mechanical. "I'm Admiral Kento of the Veltharan Empire, speaking for the Galactic Confederation. Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for labor purposes. You have 72 hours to surrender all military forces and governments. Compliance is not optional." The alien continued talking, but Do-hyun barely heard the words. His mind raced as he looked around the command room. Every person there had the same expression of shock and fear. These aliens had appeared without warning just 6 hours ago. Now they demanded humanity's surrender. "What about our orbital defense stations?" Do-hyun asked. Major Kyung-min answered from across the room. "Gone, sir. All 12 stations were destroyed. In the first 10 minutes. They used some kind of energy beam we've never seen before. Our best weapons couldn't even scratch their shields." Ambassador Nayeon Kim entered the command center, still wearing her formal diplomatic clothes. She had been awakened in the middle of the night for emergency meetings with world leaders. Her usually perfect appearance now looked tired and stressed. "Captain Park," she said, walking quickly to his position. "I need a full military assessment. The President wants to know our options before the emergency session with other world leaders." Do-hyun looked at the tactical display showing Earth surrounded by alien ships. The numbers made his heart sink. "Ma'am, we count over 300 vessels in orbit. Each one is larger than our biggest aircraft carrier. They destroyed our entire orbital defense network in minutes. On paper, we have no chance against their technology." "On paper," Nayeon repeated, catching the emphasis in his words. "What about off paper?" Before Do-hyun could answer, Lieutenant Commander Sung-ho Lee burst into the room carrying a data tablet. His uniform was dirty, and his face was covered in soot from examining wreckage. "I just finished looking at the destroyed satellites," he said, breathing hard from running. "Their energy weapons work on principles we don't understand yet. But sir, I found something interesting in the wreckage patterns." He connected his tablet to the main display. Images of twisted metal and melted electronics appeared on screen. "Look at these burn marks. The aliens used exactly enough power to destroy each target, nothing more. It's like they calculated the precise amount of energy needed and used that exact amount." "What does that mean?" Ambassador Kim asked. "It means they're efficient," Sung-ho explained. "But efficiency can be predictable. If we can figure out their calculation methods, maybe we can use that against them somehow." Colonel Minji Cho entered the room at that moment, her combat boots echoing on the floor. She commanded the Special Forces unit stationed around Seoul. Her expression was grim but determined. "Report from the field teams," she announced. "The alien ships are scanning everything, every building, every vehicle, every person. But they're not attacking civilians yet. They want us to surrender first. Have you found any weaknesses in their ships?" Do-hyun asked. Minji shook her head. "Nothing conventional weapons can handle. We tried everything from missiles to railguns. Their shields absorb or deflect every attack. But Colonel, there's something else." She paused, looking around the room. "My teams report that the aliens seem confused by human behavior." "Confused how?" "They keep scanning the same areas over and over like they can't understand what they're seeing. Our analysts think they expected human society to collapse immediately when they arrived. Instead, people are forming groups, sharing resources, helping each other. The aliens don't seem to understand why we're not running away or surrendering." "Already?" Ambassador Kim's phone rang. She answered quickly, listened for a moment, then looked at the group. That was President Yoon. "The Emergency Global Council meeting is starting in 1 hour. Every world leader will be connected. We need recommendations." The alien broadcast continued playing on screens throughout the room. Admiral Kento repeated the same demands over and over. Surrender in 72 hours or face complete destruction. Humanity would be relocated to mining colonies on dangerous worlds at the edge of the galaxy. Earth would become a supply station for the Confederation. They've done this before, Sung-Ho said, studying the aliens' words. Listen to how they talk. This isn't the first species they've conquered. They have a system, a process they follow. 12 other species mentioned in their databases, Lieutenant Bomi added, reading from her computer. All surrendered within their deadline. All now serve as slave labor for the Confederation. Do-Hyun felt something cold settle in his stomach. Not fear exactly, but something deeper. Something angry. He looked around the room at the faces of his team. None of them looked ready to surrender. Even with impossible odds, even facing technology centuries beyond their own, these humans were already planning to fight back. Ma'am, he said to Ambassador Kim, tell the President that militarily we cannot win a conventional war against these aliens. Their technology is too advanced, their numbers too great. Kim nodded, taking notes on her tablet. But also tell him, Do-Hyun continued, that conventional war might not be our only option. These aliens conquered 12 other species using the same methods. They expect us to behave like those other species. They expect fear and surrender. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that maybe they don't understand humans as well as they think they do. Maybe their system works on species that think like them. But humans. He looked out the window at Seoul, where people were still helping each other instead of running away in pure panic. Humans might be different. The countdown timer on the main screen showed 67 hours and 32 minutes remaining. In that time, humanity had to decide its fate, submit to slavery or face extinction. But as Do-Hyun watched his team already working on impossible plans to fight an unwinnable war, he began to suspect the aliens had made their first mistake. They assumed humans would choose survival over freedom. They were about to learn how wrong that assumption was. The monster they thought they were conquering was just beginning to wake up. The first alien attack came exactly 72 hours after the ultimatum expired. President Yoon had given his answer to the world and to the aliens watching from orbit. Humanity would not surrender. They would fight. Admiral Kento's response was swift and precise. Energy beams struck military bases across the globe. The alien commander expected panic, chaos, and a quick change of mind from the stubborn humans below. Instead, he got something that made his tactical computers malfunction. Dr. Hyejin Nam watched the first battle from her research station in Busan. She was a scientist who studied how human brains worked during combat. Her equipment recorded everything. As the first wave of alien troops landed near the city, what she saw made her question everything she knew about human psychology. The local defense force was led by Commander Woojin Kang, a man with 15 years of military experience. His unit was outnumbered 10-1 and armed with weapons that barely scratched alien armor. By every rule of warfare, they should have retreated or surrendered within minutes. Instead, Woojin did something the aliens had never seen in 12 previous conquests. He split his force into tiny groups and began hunting alien patrols like wild animals. His soldiers used the city buildings like a three-dimensional jungle, attacking from above, below, and from directions the aliens never expected. Watch this, Dr. Nam said to her assistant as they reviewed the battle recordings. Look at how Woojin's team moves. They're not following standard military tactics anymore. On screen, 3 human soldiers crept through a destroyed shopping mall. They moved in perfect coordination without using radio communication. When alien soldiers entered the building, the humans attacked from 3 different levels at exactly the same moment. Their timing was impossible without some way to coordinate, but the recordings showed no signals between them. How are they doing that? Her assistant asked. I don't know, Dr. Nam admitted. But look at their brain scans from before the battle and now. She switched to medical data from the soldiers' health monitors. Their neural activity has increased by 40%. They're processing information faster than human brains should be able to handle. Meanwhile, Commander Wu Jin was leading his team through the ruins of downtown Busan. They had destroyed 3 alien supply vehicles using nothing but improvised explosives made from cleaning chemicals and electronic parts. The aliens were starting to adapt their patrol patterns, but somehow the humans always seemed to know where they would go next. "Sir," whispered Private Jinwoo as they crouched behind an overturned car. "Something's wrong with my head. I keep seeing things that haven't happened yet." Wu Jin looked at his soldier with concern. "What kind of things?" "I see the aliens before they come around corners. I know which direction they'll move before they move. It's like watching a movie I've seen before, but I know I haven't." 2 other soldiers nodded. They were experiencing the same thing. Wu Jin felt it too, though he hadn't wanted to admit it. His tactical instincts had become so sharp they felt supernatural. He could sense alien movements through concrete walls. In space above Earth, Captain So-young Bae was proving that the strange changes weren't limited to ground forces. Her squadron of fighter ships was engaging alien interceptors using maneuvers that violated the basic laws of physics. The aliens had superior technology, but their computer systems couldn't predict what the human pilots would do next. "Blue Leader, your flight pattern is impossible," came the voice of ground control through her radio. "Our computers show you should have crashed into your wingman twice in the last minute." "Copy that, Control," So-young replied, rolling her fighter through a spiral that put her directly behind an alien ship. "Tell your computers to stop thinking like aliens." She fired her missiles and watched the alien fighter explode. In the past hour, her squadron had destroyed 15 alien ships while losing only 2 of their own. The aliens had better shields, better weapons, and better armor, but they flew like machines. Predictable machines. So-young and her pilots flew like something else entirely. They moved in formations that seemed random but somehow worked perfectly. They made split-second decisions that saved their lives in ways they didn't fully understand. Most importantly, they fought with a coordination that didn't require communication. Back on the ground, Engineer Tae-hyun-oh was making discoveries that scared him more than the alien invasion. He had recovered several pieces of alien technology from destroyed ships. Following standard procedure, he began trying to understand how the devices worked, but instead of studying the technology, Tae-hyun found himself rebuilding it. His hands seemed to know what to do without his brain understanding why. Within 6 hours, he had not only repaired an alien energy weapon, but had somehow improved its power output by 30%. "This shouldn't be possible," he told his research team. "I don't understand the physics behind this device. I can't read the alien symbols or comprehend their technology, but my hands keep making modifications that work." He held up the improved alien weapon. "I made these changes based on feelings, not knowledge. Something in my brain is telling me how to manipulate technology I've never seen before." Dr. Nam's research was beginning to paint a disturbing picture. She had collected data from battle zones across the world. Human soldiers everywhere were displaying the same impossible improvements. Faster reflexes, better coordination, and tactical instincts that bordered on the supernatural. "It's like the human brain is unlocking abilities that were always there," she explained in her report to military command. "The stress of alien attack seems to be triggering dormant neural pathways. Our soldiers are becoming something more than human, but I can't determine what that something is." The alien high command was receiving reports that confused their greatest tactical minds. Admiral Kento studied battle data from 12 different continents. Every report told the same impossible story. The primitive humans were not only fighting back, but were somehow improving during battle. "How many casualties?" Admiral Kento asked his aide. 2,000 alien soldiers in the first day of ground combat," came the reply. "Human casualties are less than 500. Impossible, check those numbers again." "Sir, I've checked them 6 times. Human forces are fighting with effectiveness that exceeds their technology by a factor of 10. Their battle tactics don't match any pattern in our databases." Admiral Kento watched video recordings from the surface battles. Human soldiers moved through combat zones like predators hunting prey. They used terrain, timing, and pure aggression in ways that made his species uncomfortable to watch. "Send word to the Confederation Council," he finally said. "We may need to revise our assessment of this species." They are not responding to invasion, according to predicted models. As the first day of war ended, Dr. Nam made a discovery that would change everything. While analyzing brain scans from human soldiers, she found something that shouldn't exist. Hidden in the deepest parts of human DNA were genetic sequences that had been dormant for millions of years. The alien invasion was somehow switching them on. The sequences didn't match anything in Earth's evolutionary history. They were older, stranger, and definitely not originally from Earth. Something about humans was fundamentally different from what anyone had believed, and that something was finally waking up. 3 months had passed since the alien invasion began. The war had changed everything on Earth, but the changes in humanity itself were becoming impossible to ignore. Dr. Jiwan Lim sat in her underground laboratory in Seoul, studying data that made her question the nature of human existence. "Show me the brain scans from Sergeant Hunwoo again," she said to her assistant. The images appeared on screen, displaying neural activity that should have been medically impossible. Sergeant Hyunwoo Shin had been a normal infantry soldier before the invasion. Now his reflexes were 40% faster than the fastest human athletes. His pattern recognition abilities allowed him to spot alien ambushes from distances that should have been beyond human vision. Most disturbing of all, he seemed to sense danger several seconds before it actually appeared. "His brain is rewiring itself in real time," Dr. Lim explained to the military officials gathered in her lab. "The neural pathways are forming new connections at a rate we've never seen before. It's like his mind is evolving to meet the demands of this war." Colonel Dae-hyun Park reviewed the files spread across the table. Every human soldier showed similar changes, but the improvements went far beyond individual capability. "What about the group coordination reports?" "That's the most interesting part," Dr. Lim replied. She pulled up video footage from a recent battle in Tokyo. "Watch how Major Ari Young's battalion moves during this urban combat scenario." On screen, 200 human soldiers flowed through the destroyed city like a single organism. They moved, in perfect formation without radio communication, anticipated each other's actions and responded to threats with impossible coordination. When alien forces tried to surround them, the entire battalion shifted position as if controlled by one mind. "How are they communicating?" Colonel Park asked. "They're not communicating in any way we can detect," Dr. Lim said. "No radio signals, no hand gestures, no visible coordination method at all. Yet they function as a perfect unit. It's like they share some form of group consciousness." Major Ari Young herself had noticed the changes in her soldiers. During the battle for Incheon, her battalion had held off alien forces for 6 days straight with minimal rest. Her soldiers required less sleep, healed from wounds faster than normal humans, and displayed endurance that amazed their medical teams. "Something is happening to us," she told her second-in-command, Captain Minseo Kim, as they prepared for another assault. "My soldiers aren't the same people they were 3 months ago." "In what way, ma'am?" "Look at them," Ari said, gesturing to her troops preparing their equipment. "Private Jinwan broke his arm 2 weeks ago. Look at him now." Private Jinwan was lifting equipment that should have been impossible for someone with a recently healed bone fracture. His arm showed no sign of injury, and medical scans revealed that his bones had not only healed but had become denser and stronger than before. "It's not just physical changes," Ari continued. "Watch how they work together." As they observed, the soldiers moved around each other in perfect coordination. When one soldier reached for ammunition, another was already handing it to him. When equipment needed to be moved, multiple soldiers would begin moving toward it at exactly the same moment. None of them spoke or signaled to each other. Meanwhile, scientist Minho Wang was making discoveries that challenged everything humans knew about their own biology. Deep in his research facility, he studied genetic samples from soldiers who had been in combat for more than 2 months. "The DNA changes are accelerating," he reported to his research team. "Sequences that have been dormant in human genetics for millions of years are activating under combat stress." "What kind of sequences?" asked his assistant, Dr. Boram Lee. "That's the problem," Minho replied, pulling up genetic analysis charts. "These DNA patterns don't match anything in Earth's evolutionary record. They appear to be much older than human civilization, possibly older than humanity itself. He highlighted specific genetic markers on the display. These sequences control enhanced reflex speed, improved coordination, and accelerated healing. But they also control other things we don't understand yet, things that shouldn't be possible for terrestrial life forms. What do you mean? Some of these genetic patterns appear designed for life in zero-gravity environments. Others seem adapted for sensing electromagnetic fields across vast distances. It's like human DNA contains blueprints for abilities that would only be useful in space. Fleet Admiral Yoonji Park was discovering the practical applications of these mysterious changes. Her space fleet had just completed humanity's first successful counteroffensive against alien forces in the asteroid belt. The victory should have been impossible, given the technological disadvantage, but human tactics were proving effective in ways that baffled alien commanders. "How did we coordinate that attack?" asked her tactical officer, Commander Johan Seo, as they reviewed the battle data. "I'm not entirely sure," Admiral Park admitted. "When I gave the order to begin the assault, every ship in the fleet responded perfectly, but I never transmitted specific tactical instructions to individual vessels. The battle recordings showed human ships moving in synchronized patterns across thousands of kilometers of space. When alien forces tried to flank the human fleet, ships on the opposite side of the battle zone responded to the threat before any communication signals could have reached them. It's like the entire fleet was controlled by a single tactical mind," Commander Seo observed. "Or like every human commander was thinking the same thoughts at the same time," Admiral Park replied quietly. Back on Earth, Dr. Lim was correlating data from all fronts of the war. Her findings painted a picture of humanity that was both fascinating and terrifying. Human soldiers were evolving at an unprecedented rate, developing abilities that seemed designed for warfare in environments far more hostile than Earth. "The changes aren't random," she explained in her report to the Global Military Command. "Every adaptation serves a specific purpose: enhanced reflexes for combat, improved coordination for group tactics, accelerated healing for survival, and enhanced pattern recognition for threat detection." "But why now?" asked General Chang Ho-yu. "Why are these changes happening during this invasion?" "I believe the alien attack triggered dormant survival mechanisms in human genetics," Dr. Lim replied. "But these mechanisms aren't designed for Earth-based threats. They're designed for something much more dangerous." "What could be more dangerous than an alien invasion?" Dr. Lim looked at the genetic analysis data covering her laboratory walls. "I think these adaptations are designed for hunting other species across interstellar distances. The evidence suggests that humans evolved not as prey, but as predators. Very sophisticated predators." As the third month of war ended, alien casualties had reached numbers that shocked the Galactic Confederation. Human forces were not just surviving the invasion. They were winning battles that should have been impossible victories. Admiral Kento received reports that his species had never encountered before in centuries of conquest. For the first time in Confederation history, the conquered species was becoming more dangerous as the war continued. The humans were evolving into something that made even veteran alien warriors afraid to engage them in combat. Something that suggested they had never been the primitive species the Confederation believed them to be. 6 months into the invasion, the impossible had become reality. The Galactic Confederation was losing a war to a species they had considered primitive. In the command centers of alien warships, tactical computers displayed casualty reports that made no sense according to every model of conquest they possessed. Commander Jamin Ko stood on the bridge of humanity's first captured alien battleship, renamed the Soul's Revenge. His crew moved through the advanced vessel with an ease that disturbed even him. Human soldiers who had never seen alien technology before were operating complex systems as if they had built them themselves. "Sir, we're receiving distress signals from 3 alien supply convoys," reported Lieutenant Hiram from the communications station. "They're requesting emergency evacuation from Sector 7. "Why are they afraid of that sector?" Yemen asked. "Because that's where Captain Dong-yun and his squadron are hunting," Hiram replied with a grin that showed too many teeth. Captain Dongyun Im had earned a reputation that made alien commanders change their patrol routes. His fighter squadron moved through space battles like a pack of wolves, using tactics that seemed to predict enemy movements before they happened. Alien survivors reported that human pilots fought with an intelligence that operated faster than computer systems. "They hunt us," one alien prisoner had said during interrogation. "Not fight, hunt, like we are food." Meanwhile, xenoarchaeologist Una Park was making discoveries in the ruins of ancient civilizations that changed everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the galaxy. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, human excavation teams had uncovered a vast underground complex that predated any known civilization by millions of years. "Look at these wall paintings," she said to her research team as they explored the ancient chambers. The walls showed images of star maps, but not star maps of any current galactic configuration. These maps showed the galaxy as it had existed millions of years ago. "What are those creatures in the paintings?" asked Dr. Sanghun Moon, pointing to figures depicted among the stars. Una studied the ancient artwork carefully. The figures were humanoid, but moved through space without vessels. They seemed to hunt other creatures between star systems, using tools and weapons that looked remarkably similar to current human technology. "I think," she said slowly, "these paintings are showing us what humans used to be before we came to Earth." "That's impossible," Dr. Moon protested. "Human evolution is well documented. We evolved on Earth from earlier primates." "Did we?" Una asked. She pointed to other sections of the wall painting. "Look at this section. It shows these humanoid hunters arriving at a blue-green planet. The planet looks exactly like Earth, but the star configurations around it match what our solar system looked like millions of years ago." The implications were staggering. If the paintings were accurate, humans had not evolved on Earth. They had arrived there as refugees or colonists from somewhere else in the galaxy. But refugees from what? The answer came from pilot Kyung-Soo Nam, who was demonstrating flight capabilities that alien engineers declared scientifically impossible. His reflexes operated faster than his nervous system should have allowed, and he made tactical decisions that seemed to predict enemy movements several seconds before they happened. "It's not prediction," he explained to the military psychologists, studying his abilities. "It's memory. When I see alien attack patterns, part of my brain remembers seeing them before. Not from this war, but from somewhere else. Somewhere older." Medical examinations of Kyung-Soo revealed that his brain had developed new neural pathways that shouldn't exist in human anatomy. These pathways allowed him to process multiple probability calculations simultaneously, giving him tactical awareness that exceeded even alien computer systems. "His brain is functioning at quantum levels," Dr. Soyeon Choi explained to the research team. "He's not just thinking about what might happen, he's accessing information from quantum probability fields. It's like he has a direct connection to the mathematical structure of space-time itself." Admiral Haeun Lee was beginning to understand why no records of humanity existed in any galactic database. She had captured several alien archive ships and forced their commanders to provide access to historical records going back 50,000 years. "There are gaps," she told the assembled human commanders. "Specific periods where entire civilizations suddenly vanished from the galactic record. Not destroyed by war or natural disaster, just gone, as if someone erased all evidence they had ever existed." "How many civilizations?" asked General Miran Park. "Hundreds, maybe thousands, all removed from galactic memory during time periods that match when humans should have been active in space, according to the Martian archaeological evidence." "Why would anyone erase records of entire civilizations?" Admiral Lee pulled up star charts showing the locations of the vanished civilizations. They formed a pattern across the galaxy, a hunting pattern that suggested systematic predation across multiple star systems. "I think they weren't erased by someone," she said quietly. "I think they were consumed by something that other species chose to forget rather than risk awakening." The alien high command was reaching the same terrifying conclusions. Admiral Kento studied reports from across the war zone, each one describing human capabilities that violated known biological limits. Human soldiers who operated perfectly in zero gravity despite being land-based creatures. human pilots who navigated hyperspace without computer assistance, human engineers who could modify alien technology by intuition alone. They are not what we believe them to be, he reported to the Confederation Council. Every assumption about this species was incorrect. They are not primitive, they are not native to their planet, and they are definitely not inferior to us, in any meaningful way. What are they? Asked Counselor Vextar of the Zenthorian Empire. I believe they are what our ancestors called the Star Hunters, Admiral Kento replied. The apex predators that ruled the galaxy before our civilizations existed, the ones our oldest legends warned us to never wake up. The revelation sent shock waves through the alien command structure. Every species in the Confederation had ancient stories about creatures that hunted between the stars, beings so dangerous that entire civilizations would choose extinction rather than face them. But those were just legends, myths told to children to frighten them into obedience. As human forces launched their first interstellar offensive, alien commanders realized that their legends had been warnings, and they had ignored those warnings by attacking Earth. Dr. Jiwan Lim completed her analysis of human genetic evolution during the war. Her final report contained information that would reshape humanity's understanding of itself, but also information so disturbing that she considered classifying it permanently. The genetic changes are not random evolution, she wrote. They are the reactivation of dormant programs embedded in human DNA millions of years ago, programs designed to turn humans into the perfect interstellar predator species. We are not becoming something new. We are remembering what we used to be before we forgot our true nature. The peaceful human civilization that the aliens first encountered was never our natural state. It was an artificial suppression of our predatory instincts maintained by circumstances we have now lost. As the 6th month of war ended, human ships began appearing in alien home systems without using any known method of faster-than-light travel. They simply materialized in space as if they had always been there, ready to hunt. The galaxy's apex predator had remembered how to travel between the stars, and it was hungry. The war entered its final phase when human forces began appearing deep inside alien territory, without using any known method of space travel. General Changmin Im commanded the first interstellar offensive from his flagship, the Busan Hunter, as it materialized in the Veltheran home system like a nightmare, emerging from empty space. "How did we get here?" asked his tactical officer, Commander Ji Young-bai, staring at the navigation displays that showed impossible readings. "I'm not sure," General Im admitted, though part of him felt like he had always known the way. "When I gave the order to jump to this system, my navigation officer just nodded and made the transition. No hyperspace calculations, no fuel consumption, no energy expenditure at all. The human fleet had traveled 300 light-years in what felt like a single heartbeat. More disturbing was the fact that every crew member knew exactly where they were without checking star charts. They had never been to the Valtheran system before, but it felt familiar, like returning to a place they had visited in dreams. Dr. Seojin Bei's research had revealed the truth about humanity's impossible navigation abilities. In his laboratory, aboard the research vessel Daegu's Pride, he studied brain scans from human navigators and made discoveries that rewrote the laws of physics. "They're not calculating jump coordinates," he explained to the assembled scientists. "They're remembering them. Every human navigator has perfect knowledge of galactic geography embedded in their subconscious mind." "How is that possible?" asked Dr. Minjae Lim. "Because humans didn't evolve on Earth," Dr. Bei replied, displaying brain scan data on the main screen. "We evolved in space itself. Look at these neural pathways. They're designed to process gravitational fields, magnetic currents, and quantum fluctuations across interstellar distances." He pointed to specific brain regions that had activated during space travel. These areas of the human brain are specialized for navigation in three-dimensional void environments. They're not designed for planetary surface navigation. They're designed for hunting between star systems. Commander Yeji Choi was proving this theory correct as she led boarding parties against alien vessels with tactics that seemed more like predation than warfare. Her assault teams moved through alien ships with an understanding of zero-gravity combat that suggested they had evolved specifically for void warfare. "The aliens build their ships wrong," she explained to her squad as they prepared to board another enemy vessel. "They design everything for creatures that evolved on planetary surfaces. But we evolved out here, in the dark between stars." Her soldiers moved through the alien ship like ghosts, using maintenance tunnels and service areas that the alien crew never expected anyone to access. They attacked from directions that violated the aliens' understanding of three-dimensional space, appearing from angles that should have been impossible to reach. "They think in terms of up and down because they come from planets," Private Young-Soo Kim observed as they captured the alien bridge. "But there is no up or down out here, only hunting vectors and prey positions." Captain Donghyun Seo was discovering why humanity had once been the galaxy's apex predator. His task force had cornered an alien supply convoy in the Rigel system. But instead of destroying the ships immediately, he found himself studying them with scientific interest. "Scan their technology," he ordered his crew. "I want to understand how their systems work." "Sir, we've captured their technical specifications," reported Lieutenant Mingyu Park. "But you're not going to believe what we found." The scan results showed that alien technology was based on principles that humans could not only understand, but improve upon. Within hours, human engineers were modifying captured alien systems, making them more efficient, more powerful, and more deadly. "How are we doing this?" Captain Seo asked his chief engineer, Warrant Officer Sunbin Oh. "I don't know, sir," Sunbin replied, holding up an alien energy weapon that he had somehow improved by 30%. "My hands seem to know what to do even though my brain doesn't understand the technology. It's like I'm remembering how to build weapons I've never seen before." The most disturbing discovery came when human forces began incorporating alien survivors into their crews. The aliens didn't resist or try to escape. Instead, they seemed compelled to serve their human captors, as if some deep instinct told them that resistance was impossible. "They're not afraid of us," observed Dr. Heeman Kang, who was studying the psychological effects of human presence on alien prisoners. "Fear would be normal. This is something else. It's like they recognize us as something they were always meant to serve." "What do you mean?" "Watch their body language when humans enter the room," Dr. Kang said, showing video recordings of alien prisoners. "They adopt submissive postures automatically. Not because they're forced to, but because some part of their genetic memory tells them that this is their proper relationship to humans." The Galactic Confederation's final strongholds were receiving reports that their commanders could barely process. Human forces were not conquering alien worlds in any traditional sense. Instead, they were simply arriving and taking control as if they had always been in charge. Admiral Kento studied the tactical reports from 12 different star systems. In each case, human forces had appeared without warning, taken control of key installations, and established dominance with minimal violence. The local populations didn't rebel or resist. They just accepted human authority as if it were natural. "They're not invading," he reported to the emergency council session. "They're reclaiming territory that they consider to have always belonged to them." "That's impossible," Councillor Dexmore protested. "These systems have been part of our civilization for thousands of years." "Have they?" Admiral Kento asked. "Or did we just move into empty territory after the previous owners left?" He displayed star charts showing the pattern of human advance across the galaxy. It followed trade routes and strategic positions that the Confederation had established millennia ago, but now it became clear that those routes had been laid down by someone else first. "I believe the entire structure of our galactic civilization is built on foundations left behind by these humans," Admiral Kento continued. "We didn't discover interstellar travel. We found the remains of their transportation networks and learned to use them." "But where did they go?" asked Councillor Yemtar. "I don't think they went anywhere. I think they went to sleep, and we woke them up. As human fleets spread across the galaxy with impossible speed, other alien civilizations that had remained hidden began emerging from their secret colonies to pledge allegiance rather than face humanity's attention. They carried ancient texts and recorded warnings that spoke of star hunters who had once ruled the void between worlds. The Catherian archive contained records that predated the Confederation by millions of years. Elder Zixmol brought these records to the human commanders as an offering, desperate to avoid the fate that had befallen the Confederation. "Your people ruled the galaxy before any of our civilizations existed," he explained to Admiral Unji Park. "Our oldest histories speak of the time when the Star Hunters maintained order between worlds. When they disappeared, chaos followed. Wars, destruction, the collapse of knowledge." "What happened to us?" Admiral Park asked. "The archives suggest that your people chose to withdraw from galactic affairs. Some great threat or decision caused them to abandon their role as apex predators and settle on remote worlds at the galaxy's edge. But the archives also warn that if the Star Hunters ever returned, all other species should submit immediately or face extinction." Admiral Park looked at the ancient texts with growing understanding. Humanity had not been conquered by aliens. They had been sleeping, waiting for something to wake them up and remind them of their true nature. "Tell me," she said to the alien elder, "what happened to the species that refused to submit when the Star Hunters were active?" Elder Zixmol consulted his records, his expression growing fearful. "There are no records of species that refused submission. According to our archives, all such species simply ceased to exist. As the Galactic Confederation's surrender became inevitable, human forces were already establishing the infrastructure for a new galactic order. But this was not conquest in any sense that other species understood. It was the return of the apex predator to its natural hunting grounds and the restoration of the order that had existed before humanity had chosen to sleep. The galaxy was remembering why the Star Hunters had once ruled from the darkness between stars, and why they had never truly gone away. The surrender came not through military defeat, but through the complete psychological collapse of the Galactic Confederation's will to resist. Supreme Admiral Jae-hyun Kwan received the alien capitulation aboard his flagship, the Incheon's Wrath, a vessel that existed partially outside normal spacetime and moved between dimensions like a living shadow. Admiral Kento of the Valtheran Empire stood before the human commander, no longer the proud conqueror who had demanded Earth submission. 8 months earlier, his forearms trembled as he spoke words that had never been spoken in Confederation history. "On behalf of all member species of the Galactic Confederation, we surrender unconditionally to humanity," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "We acknowledge that we have awakened something we should have left sleeping. We ask only for the mercy you might show to ignorant children." Supreme Admiral Kwan studied the alien commander with eyes that seemed to see through multiple dimensions simultaneously. When he spoke, his voice carried harmonics that made the ship's hull vibrate in sympathy. "Your surrender is accepted," he said simply. "But understand this. We are not conquerors. We are returning to our natural role. Your species will serve because that is the order that has always existed in this galaxy." Empress Jisoo Ha emerged from the shadows of the command deck, her presence causing every alien in the room to instinctively lower their heads. She had been chosen to lead humanity not through election or appointment, but because something deep in human genetic memory recognized her as their natural alpha predator. "The peaceful human civilization your scouts first observed was never our true nature," she explained to the surrendering aliens. "It was an artificial state maintained by systems we had put in place millions of years ago when we chose to sleep. Your invasion simply turned those systems off." She gestured to the viewing port where Earth hung in space, but Earth as it had never appeared before. The planet pulsed with energy patterns that extended far beyond its atmosphere, reaching into dimensions that alien science couldn't detect. "Earth was never our home world," Empress Ha continued. "It was our nursery, a place where we could rest and recover while the galaxy learned to function without us. But children eventually grow up and remember what they truly are." Dr. Somino stood beside the Empress, her research having revealed the final truth about humanity's nature. Her studies had proven that humans were not just apex predators, but apex predators who had achieved spaceflight not through technology, but through evolution itself. "We are void-adapted creatures," she explained to the assembled alien delegates. We evolved in the spaces between stars, learning to hunt across interstellar distances before most species had developed consciousness. The gravity wells of planets are foreign to us. We only learned to live on planetary surfaces when we needed places to hide. Hide from what? Admiral Kento asked, though part of him feared the answer. From ourselves, Dr. O replied. When you become the perfect predator, eventually you run out of prey. So we created the Confederation system, established trade routes, guided the development of younger species, and then withdrew to let the galaxy repopulate itself with new hunting opportunities. Commander Jae-young Ryu oversaw the integration of alien worlds into humanity's expanding domain. But integration was not the right word for what was happening. The alien species weren't being conquered or enslaved. They were being returned to their proper place in the galactic ecosystem. Look at how naturally they serve us, he observed to his staff as they watched alien work crews maintaining human vessels. They're not afraid or resentful. They seem relieved to have someone else making the difficult decisions. Is that normal behavior for conquered species? Asked Lieutenant Solgi Park. They're not conquered, Commander Ryu replied. They're returning to their natural state. For millions of years, these species evolved under human guidance. Their entire social structure is designed to function as part of a human-dominated ecosystem. Without us, they've been lost children trying to play at being adults. The evidence supported his observation. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations were adapting to human rule with remarkable ease. Crime rates dropped to nearly zero. Interspecies conflicts that had raged for centuries simply ended. Economic systems that had been inefficient for millennia suddenly began functioning perfectly. As human ships spread across the galaxy, other alien civilizations emerged from hidden colonies and secret worlds to pledge allegiance before they could be discovered. The Mysterian archive keepers brought records spanning 50 million years. The silicon-based architects of the void offered their services in maintaining the infrastructure between star systems. Even the mysterious energy beings of the galactic core sent representatives to acknowledge human authority. How many species knew about us? Empress Ha asked Elder Council member Tixvin of the Dimensional Observers. All of them. The ancient being replied through translation devices that converted thought patterns into audible speech. Every species that achieved interstellar capability found evidence of the star hunters. Most chose to forget, rather than risk awakening you. Some of us maintained the knowledge in case you ever returned. And you've been waiting all this time? We have been maintaining the galaxy in your absence, preventing any one species from becoming too dominant, guiding technological development along safe paths, ensuring that when you awakened, you would find the galaxy ready for your return. The revelation explained so much about galactic history, the strange gaps in archaeological records, the mysterious technological limits that prevented any species from developing truly dangerous weapons, the invisible barriers that kept aggressive civilizations from expanding too far. You created a cosmic preserve, Empress Ha realized, a hunting ground maintained at the perfect level of development, as you taught us to do millions of years ago before you chose to sleep. Dr. Soman O made the final discovery that completed humanity's understanding of their true nature. Deep in the quantum structure of space-time itself, she found the evidence that humanity's influence extended far beyond any single galaxy. We're not just apex predators, she reported to the Empress, and the assembled human leadership. We're apex predators who shaped the fundamental structure of reality itself. The laws of physics that govern faster than light travel, the quantum principles that allow consciousness to exist, even the mathematical constants that determine how stars form and die. She displayed data that showed reality itself bore the fingerprints of human engineering on scales that spanned multiple universes. We didn't just evolve in space. We evolved space itself to meet our needs. The entire structure of this reality is designed to support our existence as the ultimate predator species. As the first year of humanity's return to galactic dominance ended, new human children were being born throughout the reclaimed territories. These children moved through zero gravity with perfect ease from birth, demonstrated navigation instincts that required no training, and displayed predatory awareness that made their parents both proud and slightly afraid. "They're more like us than we are," observed Captain Yejin Cho as she watched human children playing in the observation deck of a captured alien vessel. The children moved through the three-dimensional space like dolphins through water, perfectly, adapted to life in the void. "They're what we were always supposed to be," replied Dr. Minji Seo, who had been studying the neurological development of space-born human children. "The children born on Earth were suppressed versions of our true nature. These children are developing without those artificial limitations." The final image of humanity's return to power was not of conquered worlds or destroyed enemies, but of human children born among the stars, moving through space with the natural grace of creatures who had evolved to hunt in the infinite dark between worlds. The galaxy's apex predator had returned home, and the eternal hunt among the stars had begun again. The aliens who had thought they were conquering a primitive species had instead awakened something that had ruled reality itself, since before their civilizations existed, and now they understood why some monsters should never be disturbed in their sleep. The Star Hunters were home again, and the galaxy remembered what order truly meant. In the depths of space, humanity's children laughed as they played among the stars, and their laughter echoed across dimensions that mortal species could never perceive. The monster had awakened, and it was beautiful and terrible and perfectly, completely at home in the endless dark where it belonged. The hunt was eternal, and humanity was finally free to be what they had always been meant to be. The apex predator of all existence returned to their rightful place among the infinite stars.